Hi, welcome to episode 18, Key Signatures. I'm just going to warn you right now, this is yet another one of these boring episodes. Key signatures are something that you need to know if you're ever going to be good at reading music or talking about music in a music theory way or writing music down. And they're not like a deep knowledge part of it. They're like basic knowledge. Like they're like part of the basic knowledge that you just need to get in your head. And so if you don't have them, or if this is totally new to you, great, take my word for it. Go look up like key signature flashcards or something like that online or on your phone. I'm sure there's an app for that. Learn your key signatures to the point where you don't even have to think about it. Trust me. So a key signature is basically, it tells you what your key is, right? We talked about time signatures before, and we talked about like a 4/4 or 9/8, and they tell you about how you're gonna structure the metrical aspect of time, that is the circular aspect of time, and they tell you what exact durational units from the durational aspect of time are gonna make up the joints among the circular aspect, so that you know how to best do the actual corkscrew aspect, that is the full experience of musical time, both circular and linear. Kind of similar with pitch. With pitch, we have the pitch height aspect and the pitch class aspect, and we can think of the corkscrew, but we're not using every single note in pitch height. Right? There's a lot of in-between notes in there. Like if you go on a keyboard and you just slide your finger up it like Chico Marx, you're not going to get a smooth sound. You're going to get individual notes. And even that is too many notes. We just use some of the notes. And that's what a key signature tells us, what notes we're going to use. We talked about this in the very last episode in terms of the circle of fifths, right? So I can't write a circle of fifths. I can't recommend enough the usefulness. I don't talk about exercises to do and stuff, or give homework in these videos. But I'll tell you, in my classes, I very often, in a Theory 1 or a Fundamentals class, have a quiz or a test, not pop quiz, I'm not that rude, where I just give people a blank page and say, draw me the circle of fifths, just like this. If you can just, out of nowhere, write this circle of fifths, is going to be very helpful for you. And we talked about how as you move around the sharp side, you add sharps, right? C has no sharps or flats, G has 1 sharp, D has 2 sharps, right? All the way down to C sharp has 7 sharps, F sharp has 6. And then same going with flats in the flat direction, 2 flats on B flat, 1 flat on F, all the way around to all 7 notes being flat for C flat. And then I gave you the mnemonics, the mnemonic devices that my 5th grade music teacher, Mr. Case, taught me. And for sharps, that was fat crabs go down and eat bears. It's the circle of life, it's brutal, but... and then bears eat and devour good children forever. I don't know, Mr. Case was a nice guy, but he seemed kind of dark. I'm stuck with him. Okay, yeah, like I said, make up your own mnemonic if you don't, for some reason, like these ones. Okay, that's the order of sharps, so F, C, G, D, A, E, B, and this is the order of flats, B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Notice they're backwards from each other. This one ends with F, this one starts, and then C's, and then G's, and then D's, A's, E's, B's. There's got to be some reason for that, right? Not today. Okay, when we write a key signature, they're very conventionalized. And what they're telling us is that every F you see is sharp, or every C you see is sharp, or whatever, even though we only write the sharp once. So it wasn't always like this. In the olden days, like if say you had like one of those old C clefs we talked about a long time ago, and you wanted to indicate that every single time you saw an F it was sharp, they would literally write a sharp on like both of the Fs that were likely to come up. So that anytime you had a note literally here or here, you knew it was actually the sharp version of that note. Nowadays we're more abstract. Nowadays, like if we just want all Fs to be sharp, we just write one sharp. And it's always on this top line. And I'll show you where all the sharps and flats go in a second. But if you have this as your key signature, then it doesn't matter if you have this F, or this F, or this F. Yeah, that's an F. Or this F. They're all technically, they're all going to be sharp. Even though the only one that's on the line that you put a sharp on is this one. Weird, right? And then another thing about how these work. Every time you write a new line of music, you have to add the key signature once again. Not so with time signatures. If you just write a line of music and then say you were writing some music and you got to the end of the line, blah, 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 and we still had to keep going, you would rewrite the key signature, but you don't have to rewrite the time signature. Time signature only has to happen once. Or if you change time signature. So get in the habit of thinking of clef and key signature as a pair. A lot of times students will mix these up. They'll write the time signature before the key signature. It's kind of alphabetical order, right? Clef, key, time. So that can help you memorize that if you need help memorizing that. Yeah, always think of a clef as also having a key signature, because it's really similar to that annoying math teacher it seems like everyone probably had, where, you know, you solve this super hard word problem and you just write the number down at the end, like 17. And then they still count it wrong, even though it is 17, because they're like, 17 what? You didn't label your units. I don't know if you mean, you know, 17 years or 17 like cans of cat food or 17 monkeys or something. Oh, that math teacher. I guess I'm that guy now, though. Write a key signature with your clef. No one will know what the heck happened if you just suddenly forget your key signature. Well, weird. Okay. So, going around the circle of fifths, I'm going to do all the sharp key signatures in treble clef. So, in treble clef, our key signature for C is nothing. That's another reason it's great to always remember your key signature. If you don't write a key signature, people are going to assume you're in C major. The key of G has one sharp, and we always write it on the top line. The key of D has two sharps, fat crabs. So same place as the F for the G, right? And these all build off each other like that. You'll see what I mean. So fat crabs go for A. Fat crabs go down for the key of E. For the key of B, we have five sharps. Fat crabs go down. And now we kind of break our little spatial pattern, right? We couldn't write this up here, or it'd have to be on a ledger line. And just a free hanging sharp on a ledger line. A, that's like one extra line you have to draw with your precious, precious ink. And B, it's a pain in, just a pain. So no, we just go down there. Next key is F sharp. It has six sharps. Fat crabs go down and eat. Come back up for the E there. And then finally, C sharp, where every single note is sharp. Fat crabs go down and eat bears. There you go. Those are all your sharp key signatures in treble clef. there's a trick to help you if you're not yet there of memorizing them, where the sharp is always a half step below the key, the tonic, right? So F sharp is a half step below G, C sharp is a half step below D. So the last sharp is always a step below tonic. In other words, it's the leading tone of the key. The weird thing is, though, these guys look different in bass clef. Well, because bass clef, the lines are different, right? So C is still nothing, G is like this, and then we could fill in all the others, but you notice you really just have to memorize this one for the pattern. So notice how sharps go 2, 3, 2. And it still happens in bass clef, only we have to do it on the right lines, right? Because F is here in bass clef. Fat crabs go down and eat bears. So if you can memorize this 2, 3, 2 pattern, it works for bass clef and treble clef, just like bass clef is obviously has to start on its F and treble clef starts on its F. And that's how you can write the key signatures or recognize the key signatures for sharps. Flats, let's go through flats. So for flat keys, you got your C, no flats. You got your F, B flat, and we start on that middle line with the B flat. And then B flat and E flat for our key of B flat. B flat, E flat, and A flat for our key of E flat. For our key of A flat, we have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat. Then bears eat and devour good. And then bears eat and devour good children. And then finally, the darkest one. Bears eat and devour good children forever. That's for D flat, G flat, and finally C flat. That's all our key signatures in the treble clef for flat key signatures. Notice instead of the 2, 3, 2 spatial pattern, we just alternate. We just go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then the same thing ends up happening in bass clef. In bass clef, we start with this flat, and we make our way all the way to the key of C flat with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flats, and it gets to just be a lot of flats, doesn't it? No one likes playing in C flat. Well, I take that back. I'm sure a lot of people like playing in C flat. I think I've played some little passages in C flat that I liked, so I'm even lying for myself there. These are key signatures. So if you haven't got it memorized, like I said, there's that trick where the last sharp is the leading tone, if you're talking about sharps. On the flat side, there's a trick where the second to last flat is your key. It doesn't work on F because there is no second to last flat. But starting on B flat, look, the second to last flat was a B flat. That's your key. The second to last flat in E flat was an E flat. That's your key. The second to last flat in A flat was your A flat. And that's your key. It's going to work on all of them. It's totally fine if you use that for a while, but I'm telling you, I can't recommend it enough. Flashcards, whatever it takes. What you want isn't to have to sit there and think about it and suss it out. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sharps. That must be a no. No, what you want to do is be able to just look at it and know. It's like almost the shape of it, or almost, I guess how I've read we understand words. Once we're literate speakers and readers, you're not really looking at all the letters in a word, right? Everyone has seen those things that trick you by spelling words wrong and you don't notice till the end or stuff. Because we can our brain fills it in. Same with key signatures. You just see the shape. And it's especially true if you ever go try and study manuscripts of old composers, like Beethoven. Beethoven's E major key signature is I swear to God, it's something like that. But you can just see, your eye hones in 1, 2, 3, 4 sharps. It's E major, right? Kind of like that. So like I said, boring episode, boring topic, utterly necessary to continue forward. I urge you to learn them and learn them good. Have a good one. Bye.